You've been told that if your client business isn't where you want it, you just need to work harder. And because you're the type of person who actually does work hard, you believed it. But in a business where your time is the inventory, I'm telling you, hustle is not the answer. It's the thing that's hiding the real problem. And by the end of this video, you're going to be able to run one simple test on your own business, and it'll tell you whether you've built something that actually works or if you've built yourself a very expensive job. And I'm going to warn you now, most people go quiet when they hear the question I have them ask. You see, I spent 17 years in direct response marketing, and for a good chunk of those years, I believe the same thing that you probably believe right now. The output was everything. If a campaign wasn't working, and the answer was always the same, just push harder, send more, do more. And it kind of worked, which was the problem. It worked just long enough to keep me doing it. I remember the stretch of time where I was booked solid, revenues looking healthy, and on paper, I was actually winning. And I still couldn't step away for 2 days without the money stopping. I'm not talking about slowing down, I'm talking about stopping. I had built a business that owed its entire existence to my daily effort. And looking back, I hadn't built a business at all. I'd built a job that paid really well, and I had no boss to blame. So that's what I want to talk you through. Why hustle is the single most expensive input inside of a client business, and why smart operators actually fall for it the hardest. And I want to share the exact way to sort your work so that you stop cementing the ceiling that you keep on hitting. Stay with me for the sorting part near the end, because that's the piece that nobody actually gives you. Let's start with the trap, because you have to see the machine before you can actually climb out of it. In a service business, your time is the inventory. And that's not some motivational statement, that's an accounting fact. When you hustle, you're not scaling the business, you're actually scaling the input. You're buying back more inventory with the only currency that you can never earn back, which is your hours. Think about a food truck, a great food truck. The line's out the door, the food's incredible, the owner's there every single day, flipping and taking orders, running the register. Now tell that owner to double the revenue. And what are they going to do? Well, they work longer hours, they add a second location that they also have to be at. But there's no version of work harder that doesn't end with them standing behind the grill until they collapse. The truck makes money because they're standing in the truck. But the moment they step out, that window closes. And that's most client businesses. And hustle harder is the advice that keeps the owner standing at the window feeling productive, while the actual problem, that the whole thing depends on them physically being there, that never gets touched. And I know what you're going to say, Justin, hard work is how I got here. Are you telling me that effort doesn't matter? No, of course not. I'd never tell you that. And if anybody does, they're selling you something. Effort matters enormously. The question is not whether you work hard. The question is what layer you're applying that hard work to. Hard work aimed at the wrong layer is the most seductive form of self-sabotage that a smart person can fall into, because it feels like progress and it looks like discipline. And it's the exact thing that's keeping you stuck. But here's the next part, and this is the one that costs you real money, so stay with me here. The hidden cost of hustle is not burnout. Everybody talks about burnout like that's the danger. Burnout is just the symptom. Burnout is like the smoke. The fire is actually something quieter that nobody talks about. And the real cost is that every hour you spend grinding, it's an hour that you did not spend building leverage. Every hour delivering the thing manually, that's an hour that you didn't spend making the thing deliver itself. So hustle is nothing more than deferred structure. You're not avoiding the work of building leverage, you're just paying for it later with interest. And the currency happens to be your own life. And I call this the effort mortgage. When you choose to hustle instead of building structure, you're actually not skipping the cost, you're just financing it. You take out a loan against your future time, and every day that you keep grinding, the interest is compounding. The business gets bigger, the demands get bigger, and the payments that you owe in hours, in energy, in the parts of your life where you keep saying that you'll get to it later, that gets bigger too. People think that they're building equity, but they're servicing a mortgage that they never read the terms on. And this is why smart, experienced operators fall for it the hardest. Not despite being smart, but because of it. And if you've been around once already, if you've ever built something before, you've been rewarded for effort your entire life. Effort is how you got the promotion in the first place. It's how you got the first clients, how you got the reputation. So effort became your identity. And when I tell you the answer isn't more effort, some part of you probably hears you're being lazy or you're taking a risk that you can't afford. So removing effort feels kind of like removing the thing that makes you, you. And that's the trap, and it's dressed up as a virtue. It's like dating someone who's clearly wrong for you, but you stay because leaving would mean admitting that you were wrong to get involved in the first place. But the effort isn't serving you anymore. It's just familiar. And familiar feels safe even when it's the thing that's bleeding you dry. A mentor of mine, Mark Overson, he used to point at leverage and living well as the entire point of this whole business exercise. He didn't talk about the grind, not the badge of exhaustion, the living well part. But the hustle culture voices are selling you effort as your identity. And it's a great product because it never runs out, and you can always be sold more of that. But I'm telling you, nobody on their deathbed is proud that they answered emails at midnight for a decade. And that actually brings me to the real reason that the hustle math fails, and it's personal to me. Simply put, I've got a daughter. She's 12 years old as I record this. And the thing about the hours that you spend proving that you're not lazy, you don't get those back. There is no quarter where they get refunded. So every hour that I spend white-knuckling a business that could only run while I was pushing it forward, well, that's an hour of time with my daughter that's gone. It's not deferred, it's actually gone. So I decided when she was young to build a business around the life, not squeeze my life in around the business. And I know how that might sound, like maybe a nice quote for a mug or something, but it's actually the whole strategic difference here. Because if you build the life first and then the business second, then you're forced to build a structure in that business. You have no choice. The business has to work without you because you've already claimed the time that it isn't allowed to touch. Whereas if you build the business first, it'll happily eat every hour that you got left in it. Businesses are like that. They expand to consume all effort possible, yours included. So the reframe is this, and it's the whole video in one simple move. You've been asking the wrong question. You've been asking, am I working hard enough? That's the wrong question. It'll always answer yes, and it'll always tell you to do more. The right question is my business built right? And you know what? There's a test for that. It's the question I ask every entrepreneur who comes to me exhausted and proud of how hard they're working, but confused about why they're stuck. And the question is this: what happens to your revenue if you take 2 weeks off? That's it. That's the whole diagnostic. If the answer is, well, it stops, then I have some shocking news for you. You don't actually have a business. You have a job with maybe some better branding. And no amount of hustle is going to fix that because hustle is the thing that's letting you avoid that answer. Working harder in a business that only works because you're working, that's not progress. It's actually proof and validation that you built the wrong thing. And I'm going to give you a practical way to sort and think about this. But before I do, let me say this, because I think a lot of you might be feeling it. As I said everything that I just said, if you felt a little drop in your stomach, well, that's resentment that you've been carrying around from being booked out, working your tail off, and still not being free yet. So if you felt it, I want you to know that you're not soft. You're not alone either. That feeling is not weakness. It's just your own good judgment trying to get your attention. So tell me in the comments if that question landed for you. Did it make you wince when I brought up the idea of taking 2 weeks off? I read the comments, and I promise that if this video had thousands of views on it, the comment section will be full of people running on that exact same treadmill. In fact, if any of this is hitting, I want to point you to something before we finish because I'd rather you leave with the first real step than just a good feeling. I put together a free resource for you. It's linked down in the description, and it's the starting point for building the leverage layer instead of just grinding harder. And it's specifically built for client business operators. Thousands have already used it as the first move to get themselves out of that effort mortgage stage of business. It's totally free, but it's only useful if you actually open it and do the first thing in it. But now let me give you that simple way to sort this out yourself, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, so here it is. Take a normal week, write down where every hour actually went. Then sort every single item into 4 buckets. Bucket 1 is the things that only you can do, the genuine you-shaped work. And that bucket is usually way smaller than you think. Bucket 2 are things that a system or person could do, documented things, delegated things, things that can be handed off. Bucket 3 are things that AI could do right now, things like drafting, sorting, making first pass delivery at stuff, the repeatable cognitive work that you've been treating as sacred work. It's not really sacred. And bucket 4 are the things that shouldn't be done at all. And honestly, when you make this list, you'd be shocked how full that bucket is if you do this exercise and you're honest. The hustle advice is never once asked you to make this list. It can't. If you made this list, you'd stop hustling, and therefore there'd be nothing left to sell you. This list is the enemy of just work harder, which is exactly why you should make it. So here's where we land with all this. Hustle isn't a virtue inside of a client type business. It's an input, and it's the most expensive input that you own because You're paying for it with time that you cannot reprint. So the operators that actually get free, they don't just outwork everybody. They outstructure everybody. They stopped asking how to do more and started asking what they had built that required them to do all this. So stop voting for the wrong structure. Every grinding hour, well, that's a vote. So just vote differently. And if you want to see what building that structure actually looks like in practice, then watch the video that I'll link next on turning your delivery into something that runs completely without you. It is the next natural second step after this one. And if this video has reframed something for you, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel or share it with somebody, because this is what the whole channel is about. Building smarter from the inside out. So that's all for this video, but now I actually want to hear it from you. Answer honestly in the comments. What happens to your revenue if you take 2 weeks off? And don't tell me what you wish the answer was. Tell me the real answer. I'll be down there reading. See you next time.